As our moderator today, my name is Tun Ali Hakimi bin Tun Abdul Karim, metric number 2312587.
My name is Naimah Mahira binti Muhammad Siddiq as panel number 1. My metric number 2318060. My name is Nur Safura binti Ahmad Syafi'i, metric number 2318404 as panel 2.
My name is Nur Farha Aimuni binti Muhammad Fauzi, metric number 2313548. I'm the third panel.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Salama binti Ruslan. My metric number 2314154, and I'm the last panel.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from team A, introduced our Europe, which is interpretation of the Quran from the perspective of liberalism and Islam. As today, we have seen so much the emergence of the idea of liberalism throughout the world, especially in Malaysia.
Okay, the four objectives of the research. The first one is to express a liberal perception. The second one, we want to describe the misunderstanding concept of the Muslim liberalists that contradict with Quran and Hadith. And the third one, we want to specify issues that arise regarding the liberal argumentation and the factual content of the Quran. And the last one, we want to describe the impact of liberal understanding in Islam.
One of the points that I will introduce is the Farouk and his idea about before Jum'ah on Sunday. As we know, Farouk was a liberalist Muslim that launched a campaign in Malaysia, which was controversial due to its rationality idea. He stated that the Jum'ah should be placed on Saturday. Why? Because due to the time provision is cramped, and we as Muslims do not feel a lot of time for our congregational prayer. So he suggests that Jum'ah prayer should be placed on Saturday. What is his justification? He stated that the name of the day is based on the numbers, such as 9, which means Masalah, which means 3, and so on. So he also questioned that why the Friday is not called as 6. Why is it called Friday? Because it is just a mere language that used for the early Muslim for the act of congregation. So he tried to pursue this idealization, but he was considered as an idiot. As we know, there are many issues regarding to the idea of liberalism. One of them is the issue of polygamy. Sister Naimah, what is your opinion of the liberalists through the issue of polygamy?
Thank you for your question. We can see from the liberal perspective, the general concept of polygamy is that a husband can marry and elect 2 to 4 wives. In Islam, polygamy is known as at-ta'addud az-zawj, which is a marriage performed with more than a woman at a time. Jumhur state the opinion that polygamy are allowed when it can be suppressed when someone fulfilling the condition of polygamy. The liberals, they reject polygamy because they say that polygamy is an injustice against women. And in Malaysia, there is an organization that known as SIS, which is Sister in Islam. According to SIS, the issue of polygamy is similar to slavery. So they oppose the polygamy.
In Surah An-Nisa verse 129, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولن تستطيعوا أن تعدلوا بين النساء ولو حرصتم فلا تميلوا كل الميل فتذروها كالمعلقة وإن تصلحوا وتتقوا فإن الله كان غفورا رحيما.
And based on above Quranic verse, this group which is cis that I mentioned before argue that the Quran advocates the practice of monogamy instead of polygamy. In fact, it is clearly mentioned in the verse that a man is unlikely to be able to be fair if they are polygamy. So, these liberal Muslims strongly oppose the concept of polygamy, means that they reject the polygamy.
Okay, thank you to Sister Naima for your explanation. Next, we will move on to Sister Sakura. From the Islamic perspective, what are their opinion about the issue of polygamy?
Thank you, Brother Tun, for the question. In my opinion, Islam, marriage is one of the sunnah of Prophet ﷺ. However, the ruling of marriage is determined by the condition and purpose behind it, which can be obligatory, sunnah, mubah, or even haram.
Polygamy is an issue that always attract the attention among people, especially between the women.
For the vast majority of women, polygamy is something that scares even the most abstinent thing for them because of their qualities that they do not want to duplicate in their life. Other than that, the enemies of Islam from the Western world, they raise the problem of the polygamy as one of the weapons to accuse Islam of being a religion that gives different treatment to women, which is discriminating against it. Polygamy is an exploitation of men over women who only hunt for the satisfaction of their organism. There are two of the verse from the Quran that show the dalil of the permissibility of polygamy.
First is from Surah An-Nisa verse 3. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإن خفتم ألا تقسطوا في اليتامى فانكحوا ما طاب لكم من النساء مثنى وثلاث ورباع فإن خفتم ألا تعدلوا فواحدة أو ما ملكت أيمانكم ذلك أدنى ألا تعولوا. Second, also from Surah An-Nisa verse 129. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم ولن تستطيعوا أن تعدلوا بين النساء ولو حرصتم فلا تميلوا كل الميل فتذروها كالمعلقة وإن تصلحوا وتتقوا فإن الله كان غفورا رحيما.
So, from the both verses of the Quran, emphasize the message of adlu, which is justice, where it does not simply mean equal right of the treatment on clothing, clothing, and other domestic requirements, but also equal distribution of love, adoration, and even care. Seeing as to how it is impossible to be perfectly fair, the Quranic injunction is in some ways a prohibition to the practice. The Quran is also clear on the fact that monogamy is perfectly attainable and preferred in social context. This is accordance with the verse. This is better to prevent you from doing injustice. Actually mean that the failure to adhere to the commandments in this verse will bring about severe punishment from Allah SWT. It is a misconception that Islam allows its followers to marry four wives at the same time. Islam categorically prescribe a certain condition according to which a man could marry more than one wife. Despite the fact that polygamy is permissible in Islam, it will be useful to examine the conditions that are attached to this practice.
Okay, thank you, Sister Pura, for your speech. Now, we would like to talk about the issue of apostasy. Sister Farhan, what is the Islamic perspective to this issue?
Thank you, moderator, for the question. Apostasy in Islamic perspective. According to the interpretation of the Muqtaba scholars, the above verse only applies to non-Muslims. They should not be forced to embrace Islam except by their own free will. As for the followers of Islam, then they are obligated to act according to all the demands of Islam, including the demand to preserve faith. Interpretation of the verse La ikraha fid-din, if examined in authoritative books of interpretation such as Tafsir Al-Quran Al-Azim, for example, the verse above is clearly related to the entry of people into Islam. Imam Ibn Kathir clearly explains the relationship between the verse there is no compulsion in religion and the next verse, which is Qad tabayyana rushd minal ghayy. In the case of apostasy, Muslims who leave the religion will be severely punished in the hereafter and in this world. The punishment in the afterlife will be God's punishment in hell forever. As for the punishment in this world, he will be killed as per the evidence of the authentic Sunnah, which is the words of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, which means
Man baddala dinahu faqtuluhu. Whoever changed his religion, which means apostates, you should kill him.
the death penalty for this apostate is a law determined in the Quran and Hadith. The Prophet, the companions, and the Islamic rules of his time also practice the same legislation. Here, we know that disputing something that has been determined by Allah and the Messenger is a reflection of our faith in Allah and the Messenger.
Next, I would like to give a question to Sister Salah from the liberalist perspective. What are their opinion about the issue of apostasy?
Thank you for our host today, Brother Tun Adila Hakimi, for giving us opportunity to share with you about this issue. Okay, now I will touch about the apostasy issue. Before we touch about the liberal Islamist perspective, it's better to us to come first. What are the meaning of apostasy? Okay, the meaning of apostasy is the abandonment or renunciation of a religion or political belief or principle. Apostasy is a very contentious issue amongst Muslims, and there is strong disagreement amongst different voters of the Ummah itself. Liberalism, or sometimes also referred to as liberal Islamists, to an understanding that calls for the understanding of practice of religion independently without being bound by the understanding of previous Islamic scholars. In the issue of apostasy, such as the case of Lina Joy, whose original name is Azlina Jailani, the liberal Islamists in Malaysia are among those who insist that Muslims be given the right to apostate from the religion, which is Islam, without any legal action and without being subject to the Sharia court's decision. And with a lawyer who is also member of parliament from the government party, Zaid Ibrahim, once expressed this apostasy issue in a forum organized by Suhakam on September 9. For this ignorant liberal Islamist group, they argue that the right of apostatize according to them is really freedom, religious freedom, which is also recognized by the Quran. They misinterpreted Allah's verse, which reads, "A'udhu billahi minasyaitonir rajim, la ikraha fid-din," which means there is no compulsion in religion, in Surah Al-Baqarah. From here, we know that the supporters of liberalism boldly base this claim on the text of the Quran, which is interpreted according to their taste. They claim that Islam does not force its followers to remain in Islam.
Although the consensus of all commentators insists that this verse only applies to the non-Muslims. Thank you. That's all from me.
As for our conclusion, we can conclude that the idea of liberalism caused many issues in Malaysia, such as the issue of apostasy and polygamy. Thus, the Muslim shall seek knowledge in the Islamic religion. Secondly, the Muslim shall abide by the rules and laws sanctioned by the Sharia. Lastly, the Muslim shall follow the true teaching of the Quran and the Sunnah. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Bye.